It is the final hour inside the Gamecocks, the preview show. JB, JC, Phil, Big John Strickland live from a minivan somewhere along the Texas-Oklahoma border, and our favorite redheaded stepchild, Michael Flint. It is Carolina, and it is Oklahoma. Gamecocks 3-3, 1-3. Sooners 4-2, 1-2 in their inaugural season in the SEC. Oklahoma Memorial Stadium sits 80,126. And you can expect just about as many tomorrow when they kick at 12:45 on the SEC network, all wearing white. It is a whiteout. Tom Hart, Cole Kubelik, and Alyssa Lang will be roaming the sidelines. The great Gamecock herself, Todd, Tommy, and Chet have it on the Gamecock Sports Network. If you are somewhere that doesn't have the radio option, just make sure you download the Gamecock app into your phone. They've never played. This is it. First meeting ever between these two programs. Shane Beamer is returning to Norman for the first time in a few years, as he was on Lincoln Riley's staff up there. But Carolina has played in Oklahoma before. 1948. Steve the Cadillac Wadiak and Carolina walked into Tulsa and walked out 27-7 winners. The only time that they ventured into the Sooner State. But on Oklahoma's side this weekend, even though their offense has really, really not been good, is a little bit of history. Since the beginning of last season, 2023, Oklahoma is 12-0 when winning the turnover battle, and they are 7th in the country this year in forcing turnovers. To go alongside that note, since 1999, the Sooners are 24-1 in the game that follows the Red River rivalry. That was last week. So pretty good numbers for them. They only lost back in 2014 by 1 point against Kansas State. So, boys, we got a big one here. Carolina, of course, heartbroken in Tuscaloosa. John, we'll start with you since this seems to be the most intriguing of the backdrops. What type of van are you in, and are you safe?
Yeah. Yeah, well, so we are coming from Dallas. We've been in Dallas this week. Went to the Texas State Fair, and when they say everything's bigger in Texas, that's the truth. The State Fair to walk around is probably about the size of the city of Chapin, I would say. So I'm in a Plymouth, a Chrysler, and I got Jeff Gordon. Driving us, aka my wife. So my butt cheeks are, tightened up. But other than that, we're good. We just crossed the Oklahoma border, so we're about hour and 20 minutes out.
Phil, tweet update on Strickland's butt cheeks.
That's right.
On the
we just ate barbecue. We just ate barbecue at Cadillac Barbecue in Dallas, which is number 3 on the Texas top 50. It's the number 3 spot. Every time we go to Dallas, we always eat there. So today's special is pastrami beef ribs.
Oh, my gosh.
And, it was fantastic.
Well, that's what I was about to say when you said your butt cheeks were quenched. I thought it was because of the barbecue, not the driving, but maybe it's both. How are your ass cheeks doing, Mike?
It's because of
Man,
I'm
good. I'm just playing it in this chair, everything.
I bet you are Panama Red. Go ahead.
Oh, man.
Well, look, man, you two are here to make us laugh. Patrick Davis made us cry, and now we went from the downer to the upper. John, this is Carolina's off next week, and they're bringing this. What I look, I'm going to use this word. Some folks would probably maybe disagree a little bit. I think if you didn't have the offensive issues that Carolina has had from time to time this season, you'd be looking at an elite defense. I think they have elite talent over there. Mike Morgan said the other day on our show he's seen every team in the SEC this year. He thinks that the Gamecocks defensive line is the best one in the Southeastern Conference. Who the hell would have thunk that? So look, off next week, you want to go into the off week with a win if you can get it. They've played well on the road. How do you expect them to play tomorrow after the heartbreak last week in T-Town?
I think they'll keep performing like they have been. And, like when I told you I'm going back to spring, I told you I thought this is the best the Spurrier era when you had the Clowneys, the Melvin Ingrams, and all of them. And they've showed it. And I think Oklahoma's got 5 of their wide receivers out, all their top 5 guys, if I'm not mistaken. And I think our defensive back half is as good as there is in the country too. So I feel pretty good about it. I think they're going to come in pissed off. I know they are. I know how players think, and Flint can back me up on this. But when you watch tape and you see things, I promise you, these guys are feeling really good about this game. They know that it's time to get aggressive, and I think we feel like we're the better team than they are. So I think this defense is going to be ready to go.
Mike, before I get you in here, John mentioned their wide receivers, and he's right. Gibson, Farouk, Anderson, Anthony, all out. And we did speak yesterday with Tom Green, not the comedian, Tom Green, who covers Oklahoma for Sooners Illustrated, and he mentioned that Deion Burks listed as questionable. Still, after last night's availability report, listed as questionable. That's a stretch. Lincoln Riley is not expecting him to be able to play. For Carolina, Jared Brown, Jalewis Solomon, Kelvin Hunter. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, John. Brent Venables. Jared Brown, Jalewis Solomon, Kelvin Hunter, DeAndre Jules, they're all out. We know about Ja'Kai Moore, most likely not going to see Ja'Kai Moore this season, as Coach Beamer mentioned just a few days ago. Peyton Mangrum, he is probable. Everybody else is good to go for South Carolina, so that's the availability report. Also, I was checking during the break before we got you two gentlemen on, and the betting markets have really updated. Carolina is a favorite now in the ball game, a 1-point favorite. The total sits at 41.5. So I want to make sure we get the information out there. But look, we're talking defense. We're going to get well into the offense. I'm going to let you two gurus go at it, and we're bringing Steve Taneyhill in 10 minutes, and he'll talk about it as well. But staying on the side of defense, Michael, coming into the season, you and I had a lot of these conversations throughout the summer, and one name kept coming up, and that was O'Donnell Fortune. And for months and months and months, we've looked at this kid. I jokingly said, but not really, I was actually being serious. That's my guy. Like, coming into the season, this is my dude. I'm claiming y'all don't jump on the bandwagon in October. We're on this thing in July, and he has really, from time to time, there's a play here and there, but that's every corner in the country. I mean, I watched Stephon Gilmore get burnt a couple of times. Where have you seen the biggest growth from this kid? He's a 5th-year senior. He's from beautiful Sumter, South Carolina. He's a Southern country boy who plays with a lot of heat and a lot of swag.
I've been impressed, man. And it's kind of the story of a lot of our defensive backs over the course of the last few years is we've just had a stable of really good DBs that are really talented, long and lean, athletic builds. But they've waited their time, and they've learned from the guys in front of them, and they've really utilized that time to really learn and grow, not pout and sit back there and think they should be playing ahead of other guys. But they've waited their turn, they've taken their time, and they've learned. But they've really grown and matured throughout the course of their career. And the biggest thing with O'Donnell, man, I love the physicality he plays with. There was a play in the Bama game. I don't know what the down and distance was, but I think it was a running back out the backfield, and O'Donnell came up and made a hell of a tackle and really put his body out there, but really good fundamentals, stuck his head in there, stuck his nose in there, and really made a physical play on the running back that if he doesn't make that play, probably goes for 20 or 30 yards. And it was hard to see, and I really had to go back and look at the replay and notice that if he doesn't make that tackle, then that Bama running back is going. But he's played physical. He's got a short memory. He's given up a couple of really tough, deep catches that he's had really good coverage on, but he's come back and made great plays the next play. Play was a short memory, and that's what you have to do as a defensive back. You can't let the last play beat you on the next couple of plays. And there's been a lot of times where he's come back and really made a physical play on the ball and on the receiver, whether it be quick game, a quick screen, but he's playing fast, but most importantly, he's playing physical. You don't hear the word physical and defensive back or corner a lot, but he's one guy that, they say Coach Elliott says, I think, put your face in the fan. That's one thing that O'Donnell Fortune is doing, and he's playing fast, he's playing physical, and I just really like that part of his game, really tackling.
I just read John's tagline here. Minivan on the board.
Yeah. John,
It's like
John, he's not the only one in that secondary, though. They do play other guys.
I was about to say physicality. Judge Collier's played really physical the last couple of weeks too.
Judge
I
Collier.
was going to say, I agree. Yeah. So, we kind of all knew what OD was about going into the season, right? I mean, we kind of knew what we had there. And, it was a question mark at the other corner with, Judge, Vicari, whatever. But, man, I think they both have played really well. And, Collier just really has stood out, especially the Ole Miss game, man. I thought Collier played a great football game.
Yeah, I agree. Look, DQ Smith has grown up a lot this year, guys. And Jelon Kilgore, Jelon Kilgore is an all SEC safety, if you ask me, halfway through the season. I think the question is, Jelon Kilgore an All-American yet? And he's got a chance to continue building that case. This kid can play football. I don't know how much money we need to keep Torian Gray around, guys, but I'm willing to chip in.
No, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's done a heck of a job with those defensive backs and really coaching and those guys really learning how to play his style of football, that physical style. And I think we got one of the most physical defensive backfields in the SEC. Those guys aren't afraid to come up and hit you. I think that's one of the most important things in playing defensive back for Coach Gray. And I love the physicality those guys play with. I mean, all of them across the board, not just O'Donnell, not just Judge, but even the guys, even those guys that come in, they all play physical. And I just love the style. And, you take on the personality of your coach.
John, Oklahoma has struggled offensively because of the injuries, because of the youth. Freshman quarterback Jackson Arnold is out of there, and they're playing another freshman quarterback this weekend, just like they have the last couple of weekends as well. And South Carolina is going to have to try to stop Michael Hawkins Jr. He is a dual threat guy. You want to knock on wood when I say what I'm about to say, obviously, because we've seen it not be very good around here. But mostly dual threat guys have not been much of an issue for this defense. Why is that? And what do you expect from them this weekend and how they'll attack this Sooners offense?
I mean, I think they're going to be aggressive. They're missing a lot of weapons. So when you're missing really good players and a lot of your top weapons, I mean, it allows you to get a little more aggressive, in my opinion. So, listen, in my opinion, we have the best D-line in the conference, and we have the best two safeties in the conference, and we have the best corner in the conference. So that's why I just feel so good about this game and this defense. I think we got a chance to really stymie them the entire game, just be salty as hell. And hopefully I'll have my prediction at the end. But if these guys come out and play like they've been coached and, don't go out and, have one of those games where you just brain fart or whatever, I think this could be probably one of the best performances of the season.
It's 1:16, guys. We're going to step aside for a quick timeout. John will allow you to loosen up your rear end, and Michael, you get your perm done. When we return, we'll shift to the offense with one of our quarterbacks. Steve Taneyhill will join us next here with Michael and John Strickland. We'll see if Steve would have liked to have had John blocking for him, and would he like to throw the football to Michael Flint? Who knows? You never know. It could be Bed Bath & Beyond. Everybody hang tight. Inside the Gamecocks, the preview show brought to you by the South Carolina Education Lottery and our friend Tony Pope, State Farm, right here on ITG. We'll be right back.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cards while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
ITG, John, Michael, Phil, and JC and myself until 2 o'clock. Steve Taneyhill will be in just a moment, and cannot wait to talk to him about this Carolina football team. As we shift it to offense, Mike, we'll start with you here. Last week you were a wide receiver, not a very good one, but good enough to be able to have these conversations. And I'm just kidding, man. You know that. Yeah, I got all the love for you. You should have played more. Junior was, we'll get back on that next summer. But you finally saw a couple of deep balls, and we're going to just keep in mind this conversation is going to flow into the things that offensively they need to probably do to help LaNorris Sellers and prevent some of these sacks and stuff like that. But strictly just talking about the wide receivers here, who's going to step up? When are they going to step up? What about Nick Carberry? He's big, he's tall, he runs fast. What are they doing with him? Well, you saw both of them last weekend catch touchdown passes. Mazio got free on that 4th down and 9, and he ended up in the end zone with a 36-yarder. And then a little bit later on in the game, as they were marching down to come back, Sellers threw it towards the sideline, and there was old Nick Carber, who reeled in a 31-yard touchdown. He toe-tapped and fell out of bounds. So what does that tell you? Like these wide receivers, when those things happen, how does that help them grow? What's going on upstairs mentally? How is that helping the quarterback get more comfortable, feel good about the camaraderie? Like, walk us through that.
I think a lot of it is just getting into a rhythm. I think getting into a rhythm with the quarterback, being in the game consistently, continuing to get reps, but being able to get the ball out of LaNorris's hands to allow those guys to make plays and kind of get into that rhythm as the flow of the game continues to go. I did like how we, early in the Alabama game, got the ball out of LaNorris's hands pretty quickly, utilized the tight ends, got them involved, got some guys involved that haven't really had a lot of catches, but a lot of it is rhythm and reps, and a lot of the in-game stuff that we've done. Just speaking of that, I really like how we utilized a lot of motion in the game to really, and utilizing that motion really helps LaNorris get a feel for what the secondary and what the defense is doing, whether it be man or zone coverage. I really did like how Coach Loggins did use that motion to really help LaNorris. I think just protecting them, though, we got to be able to protect them a little bit better. I feel like we're really close up front. Couple of mistakes, guys getting kind of blocked into the backfield, and those guys playing a little more physical up front at the point of attack than we have been. But I feel like those guys are really close. But it's all about rhythm and timing and getting those guys the reps in game. Once you get that ball in your hand and you get that feel in the stadium with the crowd, it really helps, and it helps those guys continue to gain confidence that they need to really just play faster. So I think a lot of it is that, but I like what we did with LaNorris, getting the ball out of his hands quickly. I'd like to see us get him outside the pocket a little bit more, reset the pocket for him to give him a little more time, use more play action bootleg to allow him to get the ball out of his hands so we can get those receivers the ball in space and see the true athleticism, because we got some dang athletic guys. I think you saw it with Gage and with Dre and those guys, that if you can get them the ball in space, they can make a play. But we got to be able to get him the ball, and we got to be able to create some time for LaNorris to be able to get it out of his hands so he can see downfield.
John, what did you think about South Carolina's protection of LaNorris Sellers last weekend? Obviously, starting with the offensive line. We know what Brent Venables' defenses look like. They're generally pretty aggressive. And how do you think South Carolina is going to try to stop that this weekend?
I thought they actually played pretty well last weekend. I thought it was an improvement over the Ole Miss game. And listen, Alabama's got some dudes, but Oklahoma's defense is statistically better, and they got some dudes on that side of the ball too. So I think it's a challenge for the offensive line. They're going to have to step up and play well for us to be able to move the ball, because as everybody knows that's on here, Oklahoma's defense is stout. They're right there with us. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough, but mean, those guys are going to have to put it all together. And I'll tell you what, I thought Shivers played really well when he came in last week.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. Jatavius coming in.
Yeah.
I think Trevon actually got some time at right guard too. What do you think about that side?
No, I think those guys did a great job coming in. I think Shivers coming in and stepping up in a big time moment at Alabama against the number 7 team in the country, haven't lost back-to-back games and who knows how long. And, and him stepping in and really performing well and playing well. But that's the depth that we have. I love Trevon Ball. I think he's going to be a phenomenal guard at South Carolina. I'm a little surprised that he is not the starter at guard, because I love how physical he played. I love how fast he played. He may have made mistakes last year, but he made them going full speed, and you never saw him slow down. Played through the whistle, was very physical at the point of attack, and just love the tenacity that guy played with. I mean, I'm a little surprised, but he's going to be a very good player for us. And I love how Shivers played. Coming in and for Henry getting hurt. And I think it's going to be a battle between those two to see who starts on Saturday, because I think he really played well, and interested to see who we send out there with that first unit tomorrow.
I mean, Trevon, I don't know why they don't try Trevon at left guard, to be honest with you. I think left guard has been very, very, very inconsistent this year. Left tackle, you can expect it because there's a true freshman. Left guard, there's a 6-year guy there. And Trevon's 337 pounds. So run game, he's a baller. I thought Shivers played well too. That's what I was about to ask John. He's 6'7", 320, built like a power forward. That's how you draw him up. I think he's got a bright future. I really do. They're going to have to play well. I guarantee you Oklahoma's going to try to attack them and confuse them and all that. But, heck, the first touchdown of the game, beautiful blocking on that one, John, don't you think? I mean, you had plenty of time, and there was.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Spot on, clean pocket, exactly what you want. That route concept that Dow drew up on that play was just fantastic. I loved every bit of it. Right when I saw it open up, I was like, damn, we need more of that right there.
Yeah, man. By the way, I have been trying to figure this out for days and days and days. And finally it came. Every time I look at Trevon Ball, I'm like, man, he reminds me of somebody. It's Donnell Stanley. Finally, it clicked. He really looks just like Donnell Stanley when I look at him.
He's 2.5 inches taller than Donnell.
Well, I know, but I just mean, like, when I look at his body, it reminds me of Donnell Stanley.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Actually kind of look alike, actually, to be kind of like Michael looks like Carrot Top, like that type of similarity, if you know what I'm saying.
Michael looks like Carrot Top and like my grandmother.
Oh, that's nice. My
grandmother was a beautiful woman. Don't bless her soul. Don't get me wrong. In the face, he kind of looks like Doris.
Great.
Rest in peace.
You look like a grandma, Mike. Congratulations, you did it.
I'm proud today.
Carrot Top's ripped. Yeah. And, I've seen JC's grandma. Not a bad looking lady. Yeah.
Hey, you pervert. That's gross. Carrot Top looks like he's on, like, hard drugs these days.
He's no longer with us, guys.
Come on. Right. I mean, really.
Hey,
you
brought it up.
I know it's my fault. It's my fault. Let's move. Let's hear. I want to hear the football anyway. So.
Oh yeah, there we go. Now we can actually get some real analysis. You got to get the glasses on. Steve Taneyhill, 20. So, all right, Steve, I got a question for you. I've wanted to ask you this for a long time. You played with a bunch of great wide receivers, but you never played with a guy like Michael Flint. How many games do you think y'all could have won if he was catching passes for you?
We probably won 10 more.
in 4 years, like total.
Yeah, in '93 he could have got us. He could have saved a lot of those fourth quarters for us, and we'd have got in another bowl game.
Well, what about all those guys up front? If you had Big John Strickland up there, you'd have never been sacked.
He would have helped, no question. I played with some good O linemen. All my left tackles played in the NFL. John, you played center, right?
He's look at that, frozen with a smile. Love that. There he is. Yeah. John, did you hear that?
Center, right?
He did play
Yeah,
center.
yeah, I heard it. Yeah, center.
Center, yeah. And the quarterback center connection, I think it lasts a lifetime.
100%.
And I had Vincent Dinkins, my first 3 years, and he graduated a year before me. So then the next year they rotated a bunch of guys. So definitely John would have helped my senior year. We ended up playing Paul Beckwith, which I'm pretty sure y'all know Paul. He's
yeah,
a big weightlifting guy. And I think he stayed around Columbia. But he only
me and
when
Paul
he came in as a freshman. That's a little light in the loafers even 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was a great player, but I mean at 265, at 265, it's hard to be that great. I mean, he was a true freshman when he played with me, so definitely could have used Big Strick. And I think Strick and I are a lot alike. He likes to put a few back. He could have definitely went out and about with me in Columbia.
We like to have a good time.
That's right. Steve, first of all, it's so good to see you again, man. We're always glad to have you on, and thankful for your time. We know you're a busy man. Gamecocks almost pulled off a stunner last week in T-Town, and they're going to try to go kick Oklahoma while they're down. It's not the typical season for the Sooners. They've got a lot of offensive issues. Carolina's had their share of offensive issues, right? And last week, they at least seemed to get back on track with some of it. And they're going to need to, that defense is going to keep them in every game. We all know that. So let's put some points on the board. Give us your synopsis here. They're halfway through the season. They're 3-3. What have you seen out of your quarterback eyeballs? What do you like? What do you not like about this offense? And what do you expect to see tomorrow?
I really like LaNorris. I think we got a good one. He is a fighter. I think his combination of run pass is only going to get better. Now it's run. But he will learn, and you can see it if you turn on football on Sunday. If you look at a guy like Lamar, and I'm not comparing them, trust me, but Lamar used to be, when he saw a window, he's gone. This season, and some of last year, Lamar would escape and look downfield to make the really big play. When LaNorris gets to that point, he'll be unstoppable because he's bigger, he's fast as those guys are on the other side of the ball. And I like his toughness. I know he got hurt and missed a game, but what impressed me most about him last Saturday was he made a lot of mistakes that really cost us. But, he made a lot of damn good plays that almost helped us win that game. And you can live with the bad if the good is so good. And he's just a freshman, guys. I mean, when we get an offensive mind in there that can put some play – oh, my bad. When they learn how to use what they have in him, maybe, it'll grow. But, I mean, we don't throw it to any wide receivers. Who's our leading receiver? What do they got? 10 catches on the year? I don't know. So there's a lot of learning curve across the board, not just with LaNorris. I see all these wideouts committing to us, and I'm looking over there and thinking, man, when I was a senior in high school, is that where I want to go if I'm a great wideout? I mean, I might get 10 catches through 6 games. The hell with that. I can go anywhere and get 6 catches a game, And I mean, you look at these unbelievable talents out there wide out, and who's to say We don't have players like that, but we don't know. We don't throw anybody the ball. We don't run plays to highlight a specific person. You know, and here's the thing: 30 years ago, 1994, and all I can do, guys, is go back to what I was taught and what I know. We ran a shovel pass to Stanley Pritchett from 94 to 95, probably 50 times, and it worked every time. And you know, the basis of that is the quarterback getting out there, and someone's got to take them. So you figure 50 times them dummies on defense thought I was going to run with it. Right? And you just flick it underneath, and there comes Stanley with a pulling guard, and it worked every time. Saturday we come out there, we run it. Nice play, 10-yard gain. Did you see it again? No. Did we run it again? I don't remember seeing it again.
Mm-mm.
So it's very frustrating from a fan standpoint because that's all we are now. I mean, we don't have a hand in anything, but I watch plays on Saturday and Sunday, and you can look. I even tweeted out a couple of things that I saw, and I'm thinking. I mean, I text my quarterback two Sundays ago and said, "Did you see? Are you watching some NFL game? They just ran a play we ran in 2007 for a touchdown." And he sends back, "Oh, I remember that play, coach." I mean, they're still, and they just ran it 2024 in the NFL, and it worked. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here, but you got to understand what you got. And we are relatively young at the tackle position, but that's great because so are we at quarterback. Right. So as those guys get better, he's getting better, and we're learning at the same time. Hopefully we'll end up with 2 bookend tackles, you know, next year or the next. And now you got a true offense up there where the O-line and the quarterback are in sync. I like Rocket. I don't think we give him the ball enough. I think he's a 20-carry back, and some of those guys need those carries to get going. I wish I could tell you what I think about the wideouts, but I don't see them enough make anything happen because we don't throw the ball to them. But we are fighters, and I give that to Coach Beamer. These kids, besides the Ole Miss game, which, they ought to be glad I'm not a multi-million-dollar donor, because after that game, I would have taken every penny back. And I'd have cut the cord right then. But coming out against Alabama on the road, boy, coming off one of the worst performances I've seen in 10 years. And we're right in the mix. And that has a lot to do with Coach Beamer. And I do give him a lot of credit for that. Our defense is great. Those 2 bookends are unbelievable. But you only get that good at those 2 positions because those down 3 guys that we invested a lot of money in, and they're players, they are good players as well. And now our ends are getting one-on-one matchups, and we're just a little bit better than the tackles, and they're making plays. But our defense, I think, has played solid all year. If you don't want me to rant, don't ask me a question about after the onside kick. The windows might blow out of my house.
Well, Steve, I'm just going to tell you the truth. Everybody would rather hear you, John, and Michael talk than any of us. So I'm going to do everything I can to stay out of this and let you 3 go back and forth. Michael, I want you to, and JC, you jump in wherever. I'm going to remove myself because I just want to listen here. But Michael talks often with the struggles we've had protecting the quarterback about utilizing quick game and getting LaNorris Sellers out of the pocket. I'm going to let him kind of take Michael, you don't interview anybody. You don't really know how to do it, but you'll figure it out. You and Steve and John have this conversation.
No, I think you nailed it. You got to highlight the strengths of your team, and especially with the receivers. We got quick, athletic guys that you got to figure out a way to get those guys the ball in space. And just like the shovel pass, I've always said football is you can't overcomplicate it, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of plays that are really good, like a tunnel screen. Like I miss seeing a tunnel screen, just getting your athletes the ball and let them go make a play. Give your guys the ball, make one guy miss. That's their job. Make a guy miss and get upfield and go and get what you can. But highlighting the strengths of your team. And I've always said a lot of times this year that I think if we can get LaNorris outside the pocket, play action bootleg, reset the pocket. You saw what Spencer Rattler did when we kind of reset the pocket 2 years ago against Tennessee. We ran up and down the field, and we did a lot of that. Utilizing some of those pass protection schemes that may look like a run to help get them outside the pocket, shift the pocket, get them some time to throw the ball and get it to your guys in space and let them go. And I'm big on that, Steve. I agree. Highlight the strengths of those guys and let your athletes make plays. And, if it works, keep doing it. Coach Spurrier always said, hell, I'm going to run it till they stop it. I'm going to run it 3 times in a row. If you're not going to stop it, hell, I'm going to keep doing it. And I agree with exactly what Steve said,
Yeah, I mean, that shovel pass is something that we definitely should use a lot more. And I agree. I mean, think about this. With an aggressive defense and then you have a great athletic running quarterback, that play works even better when you have a quarterback like LaNorris Sellers in the game. So I totally agree on that point with Steve. I will say last week was probably the best week of getting the ball downfield to the receivers we've seen all year. And I would like to see that grow. And y'all know what I've been saying all year. I don't like how we have not thrown any deep balls, hardly any, the entire season. And we got guys who can run. And LaNorris's best ball is the deep ball. If you've been out to practices, and watched in spring, that's his best ball. All preseason when I was out there in practice, when he could just flick it and it's 65 yards. So I want to see some more of that. So, hopefully last week is a little more of what we're going to see because we saw some new wrinkles. We saw receivers actually get the ball last week. So that would be very refreshing to keep building off of that going into this week.
Go ahead, Coach T.
Well, here's another point. If you look to last year, and we had a true number one receiver, right? True number one. Obviously, if you're a receiver and you get picked in the first round, you're unbelievable, right? And it goes to the house. That's it. They consider that, these days they're saying these explosive plays. All right. And John, again, 30 years ago. So this shit ain't just started today. We used to go into games and we're going to throw it deep 4 times, once a quarter, right? And coach used to say, Steve, I don't care if you throw it in the bleachers. If you overthrow it, great. And 30 years ago, the back shoulder throw wasn't a thing yet. That it wasn't a thing. So, but we used to go deep 4 times a quarter, and that worked for a bunch of things. One, when you throw it deep, let's just say you underthrow it. Your receiver has a better chance to make the play than the DB. Also, interference comes in. Okay, so 15 yards. If you overthrow it, or it's just out of reach, or anything like that, all right, now that defensive back has to believe, all right, they might throw it deep. If you never go deep, that corner never has to worry about that. Let's take Ole Miss, for example. In the fourth quarter, Ole Miss, in 4 plays, I think it was from the 40 going in, they ran 3 go routes. They weren't just go routes. They were double move routes. And Kiffin talked about it after the game. He said, yeah, we had some plays that were there. Jax just didn't throw it in the right spot. But he went deep 3 out of 4 plays at the 40. right? We haven't gone 3 plays deep in 6 games. But so when you play Ole Miss, you got to respect that ball going deep. So he can probably throw a 5-yard hitch all night, right? Now, you throw a 5-yard hitch. Well, the receiver breaks the tackle. It's a 20-yard game. Or you call it on first down and it works. Now it's 2nd and 5. You're in great shape. 2nd and 5 with a running quarterback. A quarterback that can run. Every play in your playbook is now in. Every single play. Because 5 yards with him back there is different than 5 yards with me back there. So, Strick, I'm 100%. I've been saying it. We got to go deep. We also have a guy who's like the world track champion, who's like 6'5", right? And I know he devotes most of his time to track, and maybe he's not the greatest catcher of the ball. But let's put him out there, put everybody else we have on the other side of the field, and say run as fast as you can, LaNorris, throw it as far as you can, 1 time a game. What's the worst thing that can happen? They pick it off? Hell, our punter gets plenty of work. So what's another kick? I mean, I don't know.
I agree.
It's very frustrating as a fan. And again, I coached, and I'm not saying I was any good. I mean, we won 5 state championships and went to the state championship. I coached head coach 16 years. We played in the state championship 8 times, won 5, lost 3. So I don't know. That means every other year I went to the state championship. But that's high school. I understand. High school is different than college. And the Alabama coach, guess where he started? Head high school coach. Guess his next stop. D3 football, won there. D2 football, won there. 1AA football, won there. Goes to Oregon or Washington, wherever he was, wins there. And now he's at the top school in America. So don't give me this crap about high school coaches. High school coaches have it way tougher than college coaches. We don't get to pick our players.
Yeah.
If I need a safety, I don't go out and drive around the next county over and say, I want this kid. No, you're stuck with what you got.
You got to make a safety.
Right.
I love it because at high
you
school,
got to make every position.
Like if you're a defensive coach, in other words, in high school, you got to stop the wing tee 1 week, and next week you got to go stop the spread. I mean, the fact there is such a thing as the wing tee is baffling, like as far as having to plan for that would really, do you think, I'll just throw this out here. Do you think NFL coordinators, because that's what Dowell Loggins is, do you think that they put in plays and run them if they work and then never go back to them for a reason because they think maybe the other coordinators figured them out? Because on that level, everybody's kind of the same. I don't know. I'm not trying to make, I'm not a big fan of this whole NFL coaching in college thing because I think it's the same sport, different game. But do you think maybe that would be a reason? Because the other play they ran was that motion with the option off of it. Where he pitched it to the receiver, he got 10 yards, never went back to that either. And I've noticed that they don't go back to things that work sometimes. So do you think it may be the NFL mindset that's bothering it or just something else?
No, the NFL's going back to the plays that work. I promise you. They're going to put motions in it, and they're going to make it look different to the eye, but it's going to be the same play. I mean, if you're running off tackle and you want both guards to pull, you can put every wide out in motion you want, shift, everything. They're still running off tackle with both guards pulling. I mean, the eye candy is so that those guys on the other side don't see it as the same play. You know, that's one thing. If you're watching, like what they're saying about the Jets is, you know, Aaron Rodgers is old, and so they don't have any of these motions and stuff that shifts and all this stuff that works. Well, let's go to the Ravens, or let's go to Oregon. Let's go to Oregon. That's college football. All right. So last year you got the Knicks kid, right? He's not the same quarterback as the guy they got now. He's not. They're two complete different athletes, right? Well, Oregon has changed to fit that kid, right? They're not running the same offense that Bo Nix ran. It isn't. Now there might be some things that are the same, but I mean, as the coach, every Monday I put in 10 new plays based on what I saw on film. And again, a long time. Well, coaching, I ain't been out the game but about 8 years, so that ain't that long. But, you know, you used to only get 3 films. Now you get about all the films. But, and again, going to the wing tee, if the team we're playing is running the wing tee, I just took that DVD out because it helps me none if what I'm trying to do. But if one team ran at least shotgun, then I'd have something to do it. There were a lot of times when I had no plays to look at on film. And so we had to go through every defense out there at practice and be ready for anything we saw. But you know what? That defense has to get ready for us too. It's a two-way street. So I'd put in 10 new plays every week, and I'd write them on a white piece of paper in little blocks, right? I'd put it on every kid that needed it, and the line didn't need it. I never gave them one. I mean, if it's 5-man protection, it's Daytona 500. It's simple. But you run them plays and you get comfortable with those 10 new plays. You still have all your plays you got in. Then here comes this team and they give you a front or a defense that you've never seen them do. Well, guess what? They've never done it. So they're not good at it. So you got them right then and there, right? So if we line up against Alabama and Alabama doesn't line up right to us because they've never seen that play, we'll keep running it until they stop it. I mean, we used to have a wristband, and when I was at Carolina, we got into the wristbands my junior year. All right, and so I carried that all my whole way as a coach. I would stand on the sidelines, and if a play worked, I would just holler, "Same play, same play." And the quarterback would just go up there and say, "Hey, run it again, go." And we just run it until they stopped it. They don't know over there. You know what I'm saying? They have no idea. But a lot of little tiny things we don't do well at Carolina. We just don't. We don't. I mean, we don't do it. We don't have much innovation. And we haven't had innovation since Spurrier was there. Let's be honest. And I'm not talking bad about these guys because, I mean, I'd hate for them to, you know, get mad and only give me one hoodie a year instead of 2. But we have to have some innovation. Like we have to, I don't know. It's very frustrating, guys, to watch. And I know we have good athletes. And I don't think we're playing to our abilities. And listen, I'm just an armchair quarterback, just like we are. We don't know what goes on in the meeting rooms. We don't know what goes on at practice. We don't know what goes on with recruiting. We don't know how much money we're offering Ken Smith in Pennsylvania to come down here and play wide out. And a 7th-ranked player in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, we might have beaten state by 50,000, and that kid said, "I'm coming there for 50 grand more." We have no idea.
Close,
but we just lack We lack innovation, and it's just tough. It's tough watching, and you need 20 yards. You got 49 seconds and a timeout. And you get nothing. And they blitzed the house. And Strick, I know if you watched it, you saw it. They walked everybody down in the gaps. They bring in everybody. They're playing man across at 12 yards deep. How about a little bubble to the Y right there? Hat on hat. How about four slants? What are they doing that? What do they do in the NFL on the blitz? Rodgers sees the blitz coming and he throws a slant. In 1994, when we saw it, we were in 4 wides, 1 back. All right. We would say, and they're bringing everybody. Okay. We ran what we called apples. And that was the 2 inside receivers went 5 and out. The 2 outside receivers went on go routes. You check that at the line. Apples, apples, apples. Snap the ball. And at that point, I'm just picking on which safety can't cover. Okay, so by film study, which safety, and this is 12 yards deep, is the worst cover guy because you're getting a little out. So hopefully you get the out, he can get out of bounds. But if that guy can't tackle and you hit him, maybe he sees, oh, hell, I can get 5 more. The outside receiver's on a go. So if the outside corner, the corner sits, or if you maybe feel like and they don't bring all the pressure, or maybe you take a little shot, but you get the ball out of your hand. That was 30 years ago. We don't have a check for an all-out blitz. No.
Go ahead, Strick.
I was just going to say, I agree with Steve. And, the first play we lined up, they brought everybody and had all the defensive backs drop back, okay? So that happened the first time. Right then, I was yelling at the TV, bubble screen. We got to throw some kind of screen right here because they got everybody walked up. Guess what? Next play. Brought the house. All the defensive backs are playing back. And I was just yelling at the TV. Run the damn screen. But that's not what we did. But yeah, I agree with Steve on that one 100%.
Yeah, I miss a lot of just simple quick game, double slants, slant in the arrow, just like what you said, the quick out in the fade, just a lot of quick game just to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands and let your athletes go make a play. If you got a DB that's going to play 10 yards off the ball, quick game and get your guy the ball. And like what you said with deep balls, taking a deep shot. You got to make those defensive backs respect the speed of the guys we have. We got guys that can run, make those guys respected. But taking those shots and getting the ball downfield, it also loosens up those linebackers a little bit too, because those linebackers got to drop back into space as well and cover the middle of the field at that 15-yard area. So you start taking some shots, you make the linebackers respect getting the ball downfield. It loosens up that front 7 for the running back to get the ball as well. Like you said with Rocket Sanders, man. We got to get him going because he is one hell of a running back. He's physical and he's fast, and we got to get him the ball and give him a little bit of room to run because you see when you can give him some room, he's dangerous with the football in his hand.
Go ahead, Coach.
I'm out of breath.
You got me fired up, ready to go out there and run.
Well, hey guys, we're obviously generally off the air at 2:00, but we didn't want to interrupt any of you because this is probably one of the better conversations we've ever had around here. But JC has to jump off real quick, and we
have an appointment. I didn't want everybody to think I was leaving because I didn't 120% agree with everything. It's real eye-opening.
Are you afraid of getting backlash? What are they going to do to you?
Nah, I got this. It takes I won't get I don't get a sweatshirt or hoodie. I get a hat, a t-shirt maybe. Nah,
I'll give you a t-shirt.
It takes 30 days to get into the doctor
Listen,
up here.
Just come to CB18. I'll give you a damn t-shirt.
Oh yeah, I'll be in there. I'll be in there sooner than you think. Yeah, it takes 30 days to get a damn doctor's appointment up here, and I got one at like 1:35 my time, so I got to roll. Gamecocks 22-8 tomorrow.
22-8.
A weird score. Everybody be good. Great week. Great seeing you, Coach Taneyhill and John and Grandma and Mad Dog, JB. Y'all have a great weekend. I'm out.
That's funny. Oh man, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Well, Steve, what obviously I don't know what they can do at this. You are who you are, so you got to make the best out of what you got and what you can do, right? What do you anticipate as we move forward, starting with tomorrow? Brent Venables' defenses they've always been aggressive, especially when he was at Clemson. He is going to be aggressive, and it always worked against South Carolina. Obviously, LaNorris has had some issues holding on to the football. Carolina's lost 8 fumbles, but they fumbled 14 times in 6 games. Oklahoma's aware of this. They're going to try to force them into some mistakes. So what do you anticipate Carolina does tomorrow offensively?
How about they flip on the Texas game and put in some plays that they ran? I'm being honest.
Yeah, especially the second half of that game. I agree. The second half of that game, the stuff Texas
you use what you just saw. Oklahoma's dealing with a lot of injuries. All right. They're also saying they're going to start like a rookie quarterback too, right? Freshman quarterback or young kid at quarterback.
Yep. Michael Hawkins Jr.
Our defense ought to have a field day with that. Mm-hmm. Venables is good, and he's smart. And we have played Venerables, don't get me wrong, but this offensive coordinator and these offensive coaches, we haven't faced Venerables, I don't believe.
No,
he knows about the brand.
Well, Sean Elliott has.
Right.
Yeah.
But we just went to one of the toughest places to play and should have won the game. Should have won. But now that's 2 games we should have won. Okay? LSU and Bama. And imagine should have where we're at right now if the should have is we did. Okay? Completely different conversation. The armchair quarterbacks like us are still probably not in agreement with the things we're doing, but we're winning. And winning cures all. And let's be honest, winning does cure a lot of things. Yeah. It sure is. There's a big difference walking back into the facility on Sunday or Monday knowing that you won to turn on the film than knowing that you lost and turn on the film because you got to relive it in a losing effort. And that's tough. But I feel like we can win this game. I also feel like we could lose this game. I look at the schedule, and the schedule has me worried because we could lose every game on the schedule except Wofford or Furman, whichever one we play. We could also win every game on the schedule the rest of the way. But what if we go 1-5 down the stretch? Or how many games we got left? 6, 5,
6, yeah.
6.
How many?
Yeah.
Right. So let's say that happens, or say we win 2. Those what ifs or what it could have been is big, and we need to get one of them to go in our favor. And winning at Oklahoma would fix a lot of things. And but we could be saying this every week coming down the stretch. And as much as we like Beamer and I like everything about Coach. Not going to a bowl game or going to a bowl game Alabama or in Charlotte is not what I think this team's capable of. I think we're better than that. What happens if, and at that point now, we already went through one losing season and still got a lot of good recruits. We're sitting there with the best defense end in the country, and he picked us. And what happens if there's a lot of what ifs. So I think this is a big game. I do think I really think we're going to win. I didn't feel that way going into last week based on the Ole Miss game, but I do feel like we'll win this game. I think one of Coach Beamer's best attributes is they either win the game or lose, but they come out ready for the next game. I mean, they do. He does a good job in that locker room of, all the coach talk. We're going to play this week by week, and once this week's over, we're moved on. He really does a good job, and his staff, of that. I think we do, for the most part. Whatever happened the week before, we kind of put it away. But we need. I think we need. I would say we need to jump on them, but hell, we jumped on LSU and that didn't work. I just think we need to play consistent football for 4 quarters. Consistent. We can't have all these errors. Turnovers do cost you the game. And just like a good special team play can help you win the game. So, Saturdays are tough for me. I get so freaking mad that and frustrated, and I just want Carolina to win, and I want LaNorris to do good because I like him. I think he is the future. I like his toughness. I don't know. There's something about that young man that he has showed me so far. I think he's gotten better every week. I wish one of the wideouts would really step it up, and we'd see one with a 12 catch game or something, where, man, we finally found this guy. Or we take a slant and take it to the house, kind of like, hey, I'm here, which is what Leggett did early last year in the season. You throw him that slant and he just splits it. And from then on, man, he just showcased. And we've got to find some guys on offense. I think our line will continue to get better. Again, I'm in favor of playing the young guys up front. And Strick, I know you probably are as well, but I think you only get better by being out there and understanding it and knowing come the end of the season and you're a freshman or a sophomore, hey, I got to work on this part of my game. It's hard to do that by watching practice film. But we also have 2 good guys we got 5 really good players on the defensive line that they're having to battle day in and day out, which is making our guys better and better and better. And you just want to see that improvement. And you walk in here next season and you're not worried about the quarterback. You're not worried about the offensive tackles. We have something to build on. And there's a lot to be said about getting into a Florida Bowl and having another 20 days out there on the practice field. And, from what I understand, we're going to be about 6th or 7th as far as NIL money in the SEC. And that's going to put us, you would think, if you're the 6th best school in the SEC at college football, probably put you in the top 20. And a couple wins here or there. For instance, you beat LSU at home or you beat Alabama. That can knock you up and you get a chance to get closer to getting in that playoff. I guess it's just because I am such a Carolina guy that I'm always just looking ahead when the season doesn't go how it's kind of planned. And again, it's almost like 2 years ago when we walked into Tennessee, or Tennessee came here, no one thought we had a chance, nobody. And at the end of the night, hell, if we could have got them, they'd have carried everything they could have through 5 points. And, and then we go to Clemson and you win that. And a lot of things can happen with a big win when you're not supposed to win. It changes a lot of minds. And I think that pushed Rattler to get better, to see that and know what he had to work on. Because if you look at him, let's just take him, for example. Look at the things he got better on between his junior and senior year. He was always wanting to run out of the pocket as a junior, always. He wouldn't step up. He wouldn't stay in it. And somewhere along the line, he figured that I got to stay in here. I mean, good things happen. Now, there's times when you got to get out, but he made a lot of progress. So if each guy on our team, especially play the young guys, and I know it's harder now because the NIL, and if you get a good freshman, well, hey, guess what? We're going to be 6th or 7th in the SEC. Give them the damn money and let's play ball. You can't have big misses, and that's what Coach Saban says. You just can't have big misses. And it looks like to me we haven't had a lot of big misses this year with the NIL money. We had a giant one last year with Juice. I mean, he got us for $700K and just sat there and went to Halls on Friday nights to try to hang out with the big shots. It didn't work. But this year we've done a good job. And I think it takes – we got to win tomorrow. I don't even know what damn day it is. We got to win Saturday. Let's be honest. We got to find a way to win. And it's a big road win. It'd be a giant road win. First time at Oklahoma. It'd be a good push here for the late season. We play Alabama good on the road. We beat Oklahoma on the road. Now we catch a couple at home. I think it pushes us in that right direction. And I know I'm rambling, guys. Sorry, but I just get to talking, and I hate that. I'll shut up.
No, people enjoy listening to you talk. That's why if we didn't want you to talk, I would have interrupted you a long time ago. Don't worry.
Right.
That's what people are interested in. But we are gonna get out of here in just a second. But before we do, though, Coach, I'm calling you Coach T. Steve,
that's fine.
We always on Fridays, of course, make our final picks for the ball game. JC has his in. And hang on just a second. Don't go anywhere. You'll see a commercial pop up, but we're not leaving you. This segment of our programming is always presented by the fine folks at the South Carolina Education Lottery.
Introducing this year's Carolina Jackpot $5 scratch-off ticket, featuring a chance to win up to $200,000. You can even enter your tickets into the Second Chance promotion. Step on the court for a chance to win $50, $75, or $100,000. This Palmetto Series, let's show who really runs this state.
Carolina is going to try to get their 4th win of the season tomorrow at 12:45 on the SEC network. Oklahoma is trying to get their 5th, but Gamecocks hoping to prevent that and drop the Sooners to just 1-3 in the league. Of course, Carolina, by winning, would improve themselves to 2-3 in the league, 4-3 overall, and into the off week feeling good before Saturday night, November the 2nd, when the Texas A&M Aggies will be under the lights of Williams-Brice Stadium. I'll lead it off here quickly. I think Carolina's defense is going to do what Carolina's defense does. I think their offense will be enough, and I think South Carolina will win 24-9 tomorrow afternoon at Memorial Stadium. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. Got a crowd behind me here, Phil. Well,
crowd's coming in hot. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Quill. Phil, quickly.
No, I'm with you. I like Carolina to not. I'm not expecting an extremely low scoring game on one side of this. I think Carolina's defense. There is no reason to believe they can't shut this down. I like Carolina 33-12 in a weird score game.
Michael?
I mean, I love this defense. This defense plays fast. They play hard. They're salty. I think, like what Steve said, LaNorris is going to be a really good quarterback. But I think one of the most important things about him is he learns from game to game, and he's continuing to get better and continuing to get better. And you can see how much he loves it, how much he cares. And I think this is one game he continues to get better as well. I know Oklahoma's got a tough defense, and they do a lot up front. But, I mean, I love watching LaNorris play. I think he's going to continue to grow, have a good game. I think Carolina wins 27-14.
John Strickland, who is on the way to Norman right now.
Yeah, rolling into Oklahoma City as we speak. I think this defense has a chance to have a big game against the Oklahoma offense, and our offense is really going to have to come out and play a good game, and the O-line is going to have to perform up front against a stout Oklahoma defense. But with all that said, I got us winning 20-10.
20-10.
Yeah, I think it's offensive struggle the first half, and then we put 2 scores on the board in the second half and shut them out in the second half.
Guys, we always appreciate it, Coach. You'll get the final pick here, but before you get it, we had one of our mutual great friends on just a little while ago, Patrick Davis, who of course today released Carolina When I Die, a song, Steve, that you and me and Michael Flint and a lot of us heard about 3 years ago, and we've been upset with him for a long time, and we're not getting this out there sooner. But it's out now, and it's changing lives. It's a beautiful tune. And I said, PD, what do you got for Taneyhill? We got Taneyhill in hour 3. He said, you tell that son of a bitch to stay out of trouble.
Trouble, man. I'm not in trouble. The only person I'm in trouble with is Dick Carpootley, and that's all. My wife's been in Greece for a week, so it's been me and the dog, and I've been in the deer woods. I mean,
it's all good. And the hell with Dick Harpootlian, by the way. The hell with Dick Harpootlian.
It'll be okay. I'm used to it. We got broad shoulders and the best attorneys in town, so
you're gonna be fine. And we got your back.
I appreciate it. Tomorrow, I don't know. I can't sit here and say, I don't know how. I don't know. I'm picking Carolina 24-13, and if we just stop with the turnovers, play consistent. I don't know. Someone said Mike Shula's on our staff. Maybe he helps this week. I mean, they probably pay him about what, $400,000. How about helping Mike? And let's get this big road win. And then we come up. We're open. Then we can't lose next week, right?
Nope.
And then we're home. I think homecoming on the 2nd.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually the great week. If you're in and around Columbia, man, Halloween is we're going to have a good week in Columbia that week. Hopefully we'll have something for Texas A&M. But 24-13 tomorrow, and my man LaNorris getting better and better and better. And maybe the big, tall wideout will throw more than one pass tomorrow. I appreciate you guys having me. Strickland, I sent you a text in here on this thing about going to the game. Are you getting chauffeured around? Like, how is it? Like, how?
Yeah. So,
Chrissy's driving him around.
Quick backstory. Jeff Gordon, aka Chrissy's driving me around, and it's been quite an adventure. We just got here. Actually, we're about to drop the rental. Well, we're about to fill the rental car up and then drop it off. Then we're Ubering the rest of the weekend. So. Yeah, we just came up from Dallas. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Cox by 90's there, so I imagine.
Well, I'm having dinner with him tonight at Mahogany Prime Steakhouse, and had 2 spots for JB and one of his buddies, but he sold out
I had
on
to
me.
cancel. Yeah.
How do what am I missing here? All these guys, they like high rollers and shit.
Big time.
Huh? I mean, damn, I'm missing out. I don't ever get invited to halls on a Friday night. I mean,
I don't either.
I got $100. I can afford my own meal. You know.
I tell you what.
Credit card, I definitely can afford it if I put it on that.
But,
I appreciate it, guys. Anytime you need me to come on, I help y'all in any way. And again, I'm pulling for the Gamecocks.
Well, Friday night before A&M, we'll throw something together, and you'll be the headline guest. We'll figure it out.
All right,
how about that?
I'll make some time for y'all. My time's short and sweet, but I got 2 hours to come hang out. I got a few things I got to check in when I'm in Columbia, guys. You know.
Yeah, you got to make sure things are working well. Thanks, Steve. Great to see you as always, man. Wonderful stuff.
Appreciate it, guys.
Enjoy
Y'all
it,
have a good weekend.
John, have a wonderful trip. I know we'll be texting a lot between me, you, and Michael. And Michael, you know we love you, and we're always thankful. I'm sure I'll call you in about 5 minutes, and we'll get through the rest of this. Phil does a wonderful job. Thanks to Patrick Davis and Matt Anderson for joining us earlier as well. Pull them through, boys. And we'll see you on Monday at 11 here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barndo Co.